We've been doing this for quite some time. We've been growing vegetables in containers so that we have fresh vegetables all the year round. But this recent thing really triggered my memory. About a month ago, we suddenly realized we did not have enough lettuce in our country. We had to import the lettuce from America. Now, I want to tell you that lettuce or any of the salad vegetables you can grow all the year round in your back garden or in your house or any sunny window shelf. You can grow all the salad vegetables that you want. You can grow it in a whole variety of containers. For instance, if you've got an old washing up bowl or a trough like this, or even an old pot like this, you can grow all the salad leaves and all the radishes, spring onions that you need to eat all the year round. You don't have to wait for the weather or anything, because if you're growing inside the house, all you need is a windowsill and you can grow all the vegetables that you want. Now, one of the main things that you will be needing, obviously, is the compost. Put your compost into your container, and then you can grow from seed, or you can grow from small plants that have been supplied by people. For instance, here's a small plant that has been supplied. This is a strawberry plant, but then you can also grow from seed, because you can get a whole variety of seed packets. Now, the good thing about growing at home is the fact that you can grow the variety of food that you want to eat, rather than have to buy from the supermarket, which they supply and think that you ought to be eating. So you can grow any kind of lettuce. There are hundreds of different kinds of lettuce, and all you need to do is go to a garden center, and you can buy a whole variety, and after experimenting a little bit, you'll understand which lettuce you like best, and you can grow that. You can grow spring onions. You take a pot like this, and you have all the spring onions you need for all of summer and all of winter. In a pot like this, you can grow radish from the seed. Usually people grow radish from the seed. Now what you need is, so you fill this pot up with compost, and then you put your seed in there. Otherwise you put a plant in there, water it gently. Now most pots, they ask you to put holes in it. But I don't like spoiling my wife's washing up bowl, so I don't put holes in it. But what I do is I make sure that I don't overwater it. All you need to do is water it just enough so that when you touch the soil with your finger, a little bit of soil sticks onto your finger to show that the soil is moist. And once you've got that, you don't need a draining hole at the bottom, because you are not draining the soil. The only thing is, most composts have enough nutrition in them to last you maybe about 2 or 3 weeks. So what you need to do once you've grown something and you don't want to change your compost and keep on buying compost bags, is to put some more nutrient in there. And you can get that nutrient from any garden center that you want. And you put that on maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks. You put a little bit on the surface and just work it into the soil, and then after that, when you water it, the nutrition goes into the roots. Right, so far we've talked about salad vegetables. Now there are other vegetables that a lot of people like, things like potatoes, cabbages, peas, onions, etc. Now it's possible for you to grow potatoes in a small space using a couple of bags like these bags. One of these bags will give you enough potatoes for about a couple of months. And what you need to do is, when you first get the seed potato, you put it into a small egg box like this, and you do what's known as chitting, which is to just start the potatoes for sprouting like this. Then when the potato has sprouted like this, scrape off the excess sprouts, leaving just one. Now this is a potato sack. As you will see, it's got draining holes built into the bottom. That's because potatoes need regular, frequent watering, otherwise the potatoes themselves don't grow big. And if you're a person who overwaters, which is quite good on potatoes, the excess water will drain out through all the holes at the bottom over here. Now, as you notice, the important thing is that you don't need green fingers. Anyone can grow any vegetable as long as you've got the right container or the right soil. If you fill this bag half filled with compost, and you put 3 or maybe 4 potatoes into that bag, and then just cover it up. And the soil doesn't need to be firmed or anything. All it needs is that you have soil, and the soil covers the potatoes. Now, at this stage, what I would do is, because this compost will run out of nutrition, I put in a little bit of a general purpose fertilizer. You can get this very cheaply at almost any garden center. I'll take a handful like this and I'll spread it about like this. Now it's time to water it. And once it is watered, the potatoes will get soaked and they start growing. Now you don't have to have this bag outside in a garden or anything. You can grow this bag in your house as long as it has got some kind of airy space around it. It's not constricted. And as the potato leaves show, you keep on covering it up until the soil reaches the top of the bag. Then you stop covering the leaves and allow the leaves to grow. The leaves will grow up to about this height. Then the leaves will put out flowers. When they put out flowers, you know that the potato is growing in size. And then the leaves start dying. And once the leaves have started dying, the potatoes are ready to pick. And as I said before, all you do is tear off the leaves, put it in your compost bin, and then after that, as you want a potato, just put your hands into this nice compost, and the potato will come out completely clean without any problem. You don't need to even wash it. You can start using it straight away. And depending upon the variety of potato you grow, you can have salad potatoes if you want. You can have one bag which has got salad potatoes, another bag that has got mashing potatoes, and another bag which has got chipping potatoes. So it all depends upon what kind of potato you like. You can grow the variety that you want, and you don't need to be an expert. All you need is soil and a container. Take a packet of peas, and you've got a pot, and you put about 6 or 8 peas into that pot, and cover it with soil and water it. The peas will start sprouting, and you put canes, and the peas will grow. The pea plants will grow along the canes, and when they start having peas, all you do is pick the peas as you want to eat them, and those 6 canes will give you peas most probably enough for meals for about a month or 2 months. So as I say, it doesn't matter what you are growing. As long as you have a container, you can grow whatever you want, whenever you want. But the main thing I keep on saying once again is, you will be growing what you want, not what someone else tells you you should be having. And another thing is, you know what's gone into that plant. You know that no funny chemicals have gone into them, and you've got fresh vegetables and fresh fruit whenever you want to eat them. Now, when I said about fruit, you can grow strawberries. There are bags like these, and when you fill it with compost, all you do is put one of these strawberry plants into the pockets that is there in the strawberry bag, and you water it, and you start getting strawberries. And as long as it is sunny and you keep it in a warm place, you can have strawberries all summer long. Let's take things like peppers. Once again, a pot like this is big enough to grow a pepper plant. And the pepper plant will grow up to about this height, and it will put out peppers like this, or a whole variety of peppers that you can choose. There are different colors, different sizes, and different flavors. You can get a whole variety, a rainbow of peppers if you want, depending upon how many pots you've got. So like I say, it is not that you don't grow the vegetables or you cannot grow the vegetables. All it is finding a container that you're ready to use, that is big enough or small enough for the house that you've got. And if you've got some space outside, it makes it that much easier. But you don't have to worry about getting fresh vegetables or fruit all the year round whenever you want. Everyone likes a tomato with their salad. Now you can grow tomatoes in any kind of container. Everyone has seen the small grow bags that they grow tomatoes in. But you get tomato containers in a whole variety of sizes, and you get a whole variety of tomatoes. So you can make your choice of what you want. One of the things is, if you get a pre-packed container like this, everything is in there for you to grow the tomato, and you can grow it all the year round. All you need to do is open the packet, follow the instructions, plant the tomatoes, put the compost in, and water it on a regular basis. And the same thing, you'll notice that they've got the containers over here. So the tomatoes can be grown in the container as small as this. But just as good as that, we grow these cherry tomatoes in hanging baskets. If you've got a hanging basket and you put these cherry tomato seeds into that hanging basket and you hang it at a reasonable height, you can have tomatoes as and when you want, and they're small, very delicious tomatoes. Once again, you can grow the variety that you want, and you can grow the size of tomato that you want, and as this one says, you can have tomatoes all the year round for as long as you like. Let's have a look at onions. Onions are one of the easiest things to grow. They don't need watering all that much. They look after themselves and they don't bother anyone. Pot like this, or a trough like this, or even the washing up bowl like this, fill it up with soil. An onion doesn't need all that much soil. Its roots are not all that big. So even about 1 inch or 2 inches of soil is good enough as long as you give it the nutrition. What you do is, usually people get onion sets. These are the onion sets. There are red onions there, and there's a white onion over there. If you go to the garden center, you get a whole variety of both red or white onions. And you'll be surprised at the variety that you can get, and after some experimentation, you'll know the kind of onion that you would like to eat. So you half fill this bowl with soil, and you put the onion in with the root part of it pointing down into the soil, with the leafy part that will be coming up. And after some time, the onion will come up, and you can eat the onion before the leaves are dyed, or you can wait until the leaves die and then you have the onions. And in a pot like this, you can get about 8 onions in a pot like this. Now let's go on to some things like herbs. Everyone likes herbs and a little bit of flavor in what they cook and what they're going to eat. Now these are examples of shop-bought herbs. But as you will see, a herb will flourish in a small pot like this. It doesn't need a huge garden to grow the herbs that you want. And another thing is, as long as you're ready to grow from seed, you can grow any kind of herb that you want to grow. You don't have to go to the shop and buy the herb over there. You grow from seed. And one of the things that I want to emphasize is, you don't need to be an expert to grow any of these things. All you need is to get some seeds or some small plants and put it into some soil, make sure that it is wet, and you start getting whatever you want to eat. All you need to do is make sure that you pick it regularly so that they don't grow leggy and grow out of the pot. And so as long as you keep plucking the end of the herbs regularly, you can have fresh herbs all the year round, and it doesn't take any space. All it takes is a pot like this to grow your herb in. Now, we've talked about growing all these things inside the house. Now, if you've got a backyard, it doesn't need to be a garden or anything, just a small backyard, maybe about 10 foot by about 4 or 5 foot wide, you can get slightly larger containers. And when you get slightly larger containers, when I say a slightly larger container, I mean something that's about 1 foot or 2 foot long, maybe 1 foot deep, and about 1 foot wide, or 2 foot or 2 feet wide. You can then start growing carrots, beetroot, cabbages, and a whole variety of vegetables like that, which then give you a much longer lasting time and a greater variety of food that you can eat whenever you want to eat it, and at the same time the varieties of cabbage, etc., that you like to eat. Now, in containers like this, there are a variety of carrots. You don't have to go for a long carrot. There are a whole variety of carrots which allow you to use the kind of container that you have. You don't have to have a long carrot. You get very nice varieties which are called short stump carrots, which then grow in containers that might be only about 8 inches deep. So you don't need deep soil or anything of that kind of stuff. You can grow your vegetables. There's such a huge variety of vegetables. But one of the main things that I need to point out also is a packet of seed costs nothing. For £1 or £2, you can have vegetables that will last you for maybe about 2 or 3 months. So you don't have to spend a lot of money, and any kind of container will do. The size of the container is only conditioned by the size of the vegetable that you want to grow. If you're growing small vegetables, containers like this is good enough. And if you want to grow things like herbs or even things like scallions, then containers like this are good enough. So all you need to do is choose the kind of container for the size of vegetable that you want to grow, and you can grow them anywhere that you want. Right, now we've talked about growing things out inside the house. Now, if you want to grow things outside, exactly as we planted the pots for the potatoes, etc., this is a mini greenhouse. It protects your plants at a time when they're most vulnerable, and if you've got an exposed site. These are very cheap to buy at any sort of garden shop. And with the plastic cover, it gives you all the heat that you need, and it gives you the light that is needed for a plant that grows outside. And it protects the plant from the extreme cold and the extreme heat.